father, Kwame Agyako, who was a close associate of the man. In our youth, we heard stories of their exile days, where he spent time with Busia in Togo, Nigeria, Burkina, and Ivory Coast in the main. When he returned from exile, he lavished us with stories of their struggles and of their joys. One that stuck to me was the nickname they had for Professor Busia behind his back. And it was Kofi Menehwai. Kofi Menehwai. This was in relation to the fact that when he became leader of the party, he was completely hands-off with the management of the party. Anytime anybody went to him to talk about Progress Party, his response was, Kofi Menehwai, Kohunda Rocha. He owns the party. It was only matters of policies that he spoke to his colleagues. And it is in that regard that Progress Party was built as a strong party. And it is also in that regard that B.J. Darocha became the strength of our tradition and of our party. These are my reminiscences of a great man. And I have always asked myself, how is it that a man of such sterling qualities, weighty qualities, character, intellect, has for a long time played second fiddle to men of lesser qualities? I refuse to mention names, but they are obvious. I think it is because we, as children of this tradition, have not done very well in propagating the ideals of Professor Busia. We have not done well at all. So for starters, let me recommend the following: that we take avidly to reading the material that this weighty professor penned. For your recommendations, I will only talk about the ones I've read. I'll recommend to K.A. Busia on Africa, The Challenge of Africa, The Position of the Chief in the Modern Political System of Ashanti, Purposeful Education for Africa, Africa in Search of Democracy, and then Urban Churches in Britain, The Study of the Church Life in Britain. My understanding of this man, apart from the reminiscences of my father, have been gained largely from his readings. There are two quotes that I would want to share with you. One is, I dedicate a book he wrote. I dedicate this book to the youth of Africa, to whom will fall the opportunity and the honor of building in Africa democratic societies wherein every man and woman may live a life of dignity and freedom. Who said Kwame Nkrumah was the inventor of this? Second one, and it tells you about his humility and the kind of man that he was. And he says, at the end of my first year at secondary school, in Thanspin School, I went home to Wenchi for the Christmas vacation. I had not been home for 4 years. And on that visit, I became painfully aware of my isolation. I understood our community far less than the boys of my own age who had never been to school. I felt I did not belong to it as much as they did. It was a traumatic experience. My awareness of the problem of relevance of education to society must have begun from there. The man understood himself, he understood his society, and knew what he wanted to do for his society. It is incumbent upon us, therefore, that we study the man's ideas and translate them into the policies that will benefit our country. We must document the relationship between the man's ideas and the policies we advocate and implement. Going through my father's archives, I saw a list he had compiled in 1986 of all the things that Professor Busia had done. Now I can associate his name to the policy. And I think that Busia Institute, that is something I would want to join you in doing. Before I sit down, let me say this. For all of us, let us hold our dear Professor Kofi Abrefa Busia as our mirror into which we look daily as we try to make decisions. Let the reflection of his goodness reflect in the goodness of the policies we try to implement for our country. I thank you very much.